Welcome to Story Comic Presents, where we interview amazing storytellers and artists. This is episode 413. I'm your host, Barney Smith of StoryComic.com, and we are excited to have back with us the internationally acclaimed game designer and owner of Shoestone Publishing and friend of the show, Andrew Gronosky.
Oh, thanks, Barney. It's great to be back.
Yeah,
Good to see
see,
you. This time, my cat is involved in the podcast. This is Morgana, everybody. She is a black, short-haired cat, and she has decided that she's going to be here today. So,
and is she gonna like give like some like witty commentary as we're talking too?
no, I think she's actually going. Nope, she's back. She's she's just doing cat things. Okay.
So Shoestone Publishing has been very busy this past year. You
Yes.
have put out a magazine, and I know last time you were on, you're talking about Drintera, Age of Destiny. It is and when you were on, you're talking about how it is a game system agnostic setting, correct?
Right.
And that's still the case.
Yes, it is. So it's system agnostic. We certainly have Dungeons and Dragons players in mind. I'm sorry about the cat. Not everybody plays Dungeons and Dragons. There's Pathfinder, which is also very popular, and several. There's old school Renaissance, which are D&D like games back trying to recreate more of the experience of early Dungeons and Dragons and so on. And
right.
I realized a few things. One is that, one of the things that I realized as I was working on Drintera is that there are assumptions about the setting. There's setting baked in to almost all role-playing games. And that's fine if the setting is the one you want to play in, right? The one that they built into the rules is the world you want to play in. But if you want to really, when you start to separate it out, then I guess what can I say? I think that separating the setting frees us of those design assumptions, right? I have to separate the setting from the rules.
Right.
Okay, that's what I'm saying. And I think that the benefit that we get there is we're re-examining the gameplay experience, and we also are making this a world that is usable for different rule sets. So if somebody's playing a lesser known game like Fantasy Age or the Fantasy Trip by Steve Jackson, I'm just naming some fantasy games that I've seen, then they can use Drintera. And also, if we were printing statistics for a game like Dungeons and Dragons in the magazine, it would take up a lot of space and it would take up a lot of our budget, honestly, to develop those statistics. And what I think is that a lot of our audience is here for the lore. So that's what Drintera is about. It's about world building, a lore and an environment that's designed to promote a good gameplay experience. And here we have some of the principles, right? So thanks for bringing that up. We're trying to make something that's fun to read. I realize that a lot of gamers aren't going to pick up their campaign and transport it into Drintera tomorrow, right? And the number of people who want to start a brand new role-playing game, I hope, is high, but it's probably not enough to make that be my whole audience. So the audience for Drintera magazine are gamers, particularly game masters, but also players who are looking for ideas and looking for fun fantasy lore to read looking for inspiration and honestly for concepts, plot ideas, characters, organizations, factions, nations, cultures, um, enchanted items, legends, gods that they can cherry pick and use in their to catalyze their homebrew world.
Right.
So
So I want to bring up for our listeners as well. So we are on shoestone.com backslash I guess forward slash. I've been saying backslash for 20 years, but actually it's forward slash.
it is.
Yeah, it's forward slash Drintera. And so for our listeners out there, I'm just gonna uh do you want to read the design principles? And so so remember it's so for our viewers out there, we are going to act like a PowerPoint presentation. We're going to read it, what you're going to see, but at the same time, this is going to be for our listeners. So do you want to read that
Yeah,
off?
I will do that. All right, I'll read it from our screen. That's good. Um, the design principles that have guided us from the beginning are deep lore. Our freelancers are history, folklore, anthropology, and science geeks. They create deep lore that's fun to read. Heroic ideals. Drawing inspiration from heroic mythology, Drintera encourages players to create heroes we can admire. Multicultural. We actively recruit writers who are literate in non European cultures. We've had a diverse team since the beginning.
Mm.
A canvas for creativity. Our aim is to light the fire of creativity. We want to make it fun and easy for a game master to build a campaign in Drintera and make it their own. And inclusive. Drintera is for gamers of all ages. It strives to dispense with unwanted baggage from 20th century pulp fantasy, such as sexism and racism. We've had diverse creators since the very beginning, and I said that twice because I didn't have my editor look at this page. Keith would have caught that.
But you know what? It's so important. It's good to say it twice. So that's what.
Yeah. You know, um, as I was getting started, I didn't want to make a world that was just one. It was just my vision.
Mm,
There are a lot of worlds out there, fantasy worlds out there, that are very successful, that are really enjoyable and rich, that were created by one person. Right? Middle Earth was created by one person. George R. R. Martin built a world that people love. I, he did a great job. Something different happens when you bring in people from different cultural heritage, different national origin,
mm.
and you tell them what some a nugget of wisdom that I found in a meme on the internet, but it's brilliant. It's from Steve Jobs. It doesn't make sense to hire smart people and tell them what to do.
Yeah,
We hire smart people and they tell us what to do,
right.
right?
That's
So
yeah.
there's a creative director there. I feel like I'm the band leader of a jazz band. Okay, uh, I mean somebody's got to hold it together and show where we're going, but it's about showcasing the creators and letting them have a vision and express that in their own voice. So it's very rewarding to work on this, and
Mm.
I hope you want to read it, listeners.
Well, and what I love about this is like I have my own. I've been running a game lately where I've always been I always got started in White Wolf, so I've been running a
Hmm.
White Wolf campaign, Changeling the Dreaming, which
Hmm.
is um, what I love about Drintera is that this can easily be the entire world itself can be translated and transformed into, like you say, any setting. It could be a different realm or a different dimension for any of your if you're playing like say like Dragonlance or Forgotten Realms, like you could just easily like stumble onto through some sort of gateway.
That's true.
um Same thing for literally I'm thinking about also, we're you and I are fans of the Fate core system and thinking about
Hmm.
the Dresden Files, like
Yep.
having this be you know a pocket dimension or something where you just end up there. Like there's literally a lot of different opportunities for someone to jump in and just, as you say, use this. And I think, and I believe what makes this going to be very strong is the fact that you did make it a system agnostic setting.
That seemed like a very smart decision a year ago when Wizards of the Coast really alienated a lot of fans. They repaired, I think, their community relations, but it looked like D&D might slip in popularity at the time. So when the next new awesome game comes along, um, you'll be able to play it in
Mm.
Drintera. And most role-playing games come with their own world. But one of the advantages that comes to mind that actually appeals to me is you can flip the normal system changing. So um, you can experiment with different rules, but keep playing in the same world. Your investment in developing your own parts of Drintera, you can keep, right? Even as you experiment with different rule systems.
Mm. It reminds me of the did we talk about the West March system? Do you familiar with the West
We
March?
did not. No, my editor just mentioned it to me the other day, though. All I know is the name.
So what a West March game is basically it is like, and think about it like in a way like Drintera, where there is a world created so vast that's not it's too big for one GM. So basically,
Mm-hmm.
like you'd have a party of people,
Yep.
and if they decide to go to a different continent, one of
Yep.
the other players becomes the GM because they did all the
Uh-huh.
studies of that continent. So
Yes, you could absolutely. It's. I didn't even know about this, but it's. I almost did that, right? Um, and I did it because I wanted to be able to put recognizable um, cultures or to draw inspiration from world cultures, and that to me meant making a geography that's a little bit like Earth. My geography guy played around and he flipped like North and South America to the opposite hemispheres. We actually stuck Asia in the southern hemisphere. Um, and yeah, in Africa, Dramagar is like Africa. That's the one in the middle, and
mhm,
Niere is off. That's our Europe-like continent, which is off in the northeast. So yeah,
right.
thanks for showing that. Um, and we left out Australia. I'm sure there's some Australians who are going to be mad at me for that. but um, and actually, positioning the continents like we did was a mindful decision. It's a lot easier to get between the continents in Drintera than
Mm.
it was on Earth. It's a lot easier to get from Nieri to Morthia. Morthia is our Asian-inspired continent than it is to get from Europe to East Asia, and that's very intentional because
Well,
we
did
want
you?
we want them to come into contact with each other.
Well, hey there. If you're enjoying our podcast, don't forget to subscribe on YouTube or leave us a 5-star review on your favorite podcast platform. Your support means the world to us and helps us keep this show going. We love hearing from you, so any feedback is welcome. And thank you for being a part of our podcast family and for all your support. It truly means a lot to us. I know we talked about last time you were on, so just remind our
Mhm.
listeners as well as like about how does like a magic system work in a system agnostic setting?
Yeah, good question. We're loosely basing our world on D&D like games. There are enough of them. Um, so this is not Magnomia, where it's strongly grounded in world folklore. Um, so what's the magic system is going to be the magic of the game system that you bring to it. However, there's lore around magic, and how magic works and what magic is. And there I did draw on my extensive research into European magic because I found out that European magic was really cool. The idea of magic is, and I can gush on this, so feel free to cut me off. The idea of magic is that it's the secret laws of the universe. Before there was physical science, people observed correspondences in the world. An example is that the phase of the moon was correlated with the tides rising and ebbing, right? And they observed this, but there was no reason why. This was secret. This was hidden. It was occulta in Latin, which is occult, right? So there are these secret laws of the universe that are discoverable. That's how magic works.
Okay.
And all right, magic in Drintera is going to be heavily influenced and involved with spirits. So the gods are immortal beings, and they are essentially connected to these secret laws of the universe. They kind of are powered by them, and they're tens of thousands of years old, so they know a lot more about it than any other mortal creature could. And they'll teach you a little bit. They'll reveal a little, to as much as they think humans can handle and be trusted with. Maybe more than they can be trusted with. As much as they can handle, they might reveal a little. And some of that magic involves, rather than directly trying to affect something with magic, it would involve conjuring a spirit to do it on your behalf. This is also borrowed from European magic, but also from folk magic around the world. This is extremely common, right? So our lore is grounded in our folklore and anthropology and history geekiness. There is, we're not just copying this out of D&D. We've gone to the sources and mythology and folklore, right, to restore the wonder of magic. That's what we're trying to do. One of my favorite articles, it was my idea, but I gave it to a creator and an author, and he ran with it. Is we use the word dwemer because it's an underused, cool Anglo-Saxon derived word for magic. And a dwemer is the magical ambiance. It's how magic skews reality. It's the mood of a place. And dwemers ebb and flow according to these mysterious rules. And there can be dwemer that become so strong that monsters come out of it. That, for instance, house cats. My house cats just left. House cats could be transformed into tigers by a dwemer, just by a wandering, a weather-like phenomenon.
Right.
And, and here's an illustration of some plant creatures, right, that are probably spirits angry at these adventurers. I love that piece of art.
And you also mentioned on here on the Shoestone Publishing, shoestone.com, is Drintera right for you? If you want to support a diverse team of freelance tabletop role-playing game writers and illustrators, reading RPG world lore is fun for you. You want plausible conflicts that go beyond good and evil. For a world shaped by mythology where magic follows narrative logic. And if you view the setting as a canvas for your own creative storytelling, or you just want to borrow cool ideas, then it is. So, but you say it's probably not your cup of tea if you prefer grim dark. You want heroes to be dark too. If you miss drow elves, the Underdark, and other intellectual properties from Dungeons and Dragons, or if you're looking for a ready to play adventures with full game statistics, you can use fit published adventures into Drintera, but our products are about world lore and creative inspiration. So, like you say, it's about role playing, ROLE playing, not ROLL playing.
Right. And it's because it's not because we can't do ROLL playing, and not because we think it's unimportant, but because other people are doing it,
Right,
right? And what I feel is underserved is this is the lore.
right. Yeah. All right. So, Andrew, talk to us a little bit about you have a Kickstarter, an impending
Yeah, we do.
Kickstarter right now.
Yeah, we do. So we've been publishing Drintera since March of 2024, and it's expensive. Right? I pay all the freelancers. Pay the editor. I pay the layout artist. All those illustrations we were just looking at, and I've been paying that out of my pocket. And
Mm,
our sales aren't really that good right yet because people don't know about us. We haven't been able to reach the audience. Kickstarter
mm,
is our way to grow that audience, to bring Drintera closer to or to financial sustainability, right? We need just a few hundred subscribers to this monthly magazine, and I'll be able to write all those checks without, giving anything up, right? Out of my, yeah. So, you know, I was happy to get the ball rolling with some investment, but we need an audience to sustain it, and
right.
the rewards for the Kickstarter are a subscription to the digital magazine. It's usually about 20 to 25 pages with at least 3 pieces of original art. Here is all art from the magazine that we're looking at, and then um, 3 or 4 in-depth articles, right, about the
Okay.
world lore. Um, each issue, the way I'm organizing them, is around a particular theme. So, for example, the issue that's I'm just about to publish, issue 10, is about the wilderness.
Mm,
And there was the previous one was the ocean. And before that, we had uh, what was I forgot what we did for issue 8. Oh, 8 was October. It was how could I forget my special issue October? So,
and so what would so with
yeah,
this reward that you're talking about, so basically people are buying, this is basically people are buying a subscription then, correct?
that's correct, and it's non-recurring, so it's not. It's you pay once like the old days,
Right.
right? And you get the magazine for 12 months. And I tried soft launching on Patreon, and I think that there's a barrier, there's a reluctance to Patreon. If I were already famous, I know I'm internationally acclaimed, but that's not the same as famous, right? The few people who know me do like me, but but not enough people know me. So yeah, we tried Patreon, and that wasn't headed on a trajectory that's going to get us
Right.
sustainable. Kickstarter, I think, has more exposure, makes a bigger splash, and it's more convenient for the subscriber because they don't have to worry about getting charged again if they want to let it lapse.
Right. Yeah. And yeah, and so really exciting stuff. and
Yeah.
and so as of this recording, say somebody's listening to this or watching this
Hmm.
in a year from now, and they say,
Yeah.
oh darn it, biscuits, I missed this Kickstarter and I want to subscribe.
Yeah.
How can somebody subscribe to Drintera the magazine?
Great question. Um, and I don't really know. So I'm planning to have, well, yeah, I don't really know. After the year is done, I know I'll be selling individual issues. Actually, I'm selling individual issues now on Drive-Thru RPG. So just like in the old days, you don't have to subscribe to get the magazine. If you want to try it out, you can find it on Drive-Thru. $5 is the cover price, $4
Mm,
for the subscribers, just like with a print magazine. So you'll be able to get those. You'll be able to get those back issues. I'll probably make a bundle, of the year's issues. Um, so you'll be able to do that, and whether Drintera is around in 2026 really depends on the money, on our ability to bring in subscribers and how close we
okay.
get to the break even point. And I was going to say profitability, but we're not going to be profitable because I pledge that I'm going to pay the money from our Kickstarter to the creators. So,
Okay.
if we happen to get past the break even point, I'm just going to add more art and more articles.
Right. There you go. And like I said, this is something that's going to be on basically indefinitely. Like this isn't like a limited series. You're planning on having this out
As
basically.
long as we can finance it, yes. As
Yeah.
long as we can
Okay.
sustain it, as long as it makes business sense, right?
Right. Yep.
Yeah. And yeah, because building a world is a really big project. It's an ongoing project, and there may in the future be books of Drintera. I can imagine a boxed set with maps and all kinds of. I can imagine products, right? But the creative community that is producing this it's a big community, right? They're taking
Right.
turns writing these articles, and that's really the heart of the project, that I want to keep it alive. And
Mm,
the only way to do that I know of is to finance it through subscriptions.
right. Yeah. No, it makes sense. That's why they have it. And are you looking at also having maybe like also like advertising opportunities in it as well?
That's a good question. Um, I would need my circulation. There's a bootstrapping problem there, right? Because with the audience that I have now, nobody will pay me for advertising. I
Mm,
don't know if my readers want advertising,
mm,
and that's the advantage of like direct financing, right? And of um, not having printing costs, not having shipping costs. Maybe I don't need advertising.
right.
Um, yeah. Uh,
Yeah. Well, so Andrew, if people want to learn more about you and your work, where's the best place they could go to?
that would be shoestone.com.
There it is.
And there is a Drintera page there with a little banner, maybe not as prominent as I would wish it to be, but there's a little banner at the top that it's coming to Kickstarter.
Yeah.
So follow us to support a strong launch. You can sign up today. You'll get notification when we launch, which is going to be soon.
Yeah. There it is. As of this recording, it'll be soon. So yes. So
Yes,
yeah, perfect.
that's true.
Excellent. Yeah. Well, you know what, Andrew, it's always a pleasure to have you on the show, and I absolutely and definitely, um, yeah, you got to come back on when there's when you have more Drinter and more um,
I've got
Magnolia.
Drintera coming out my ears now, Barney. You could
Yeah.
have me on every day, and I would not, I'd be able to talk. So if you ever need a guest, just let me know,
Yeah.
and I'll be happy to come back. I'm always happy to talk about what my creative team is doing because I think it's exceptional.
Right.
And
Yeah.
yeah, so yeah, what I wanted to say is you can buy individual issues on Drive-Thru RPG if you want to try it out. Issue 1 is free. Um, Instead of binging and buying all the issues, if you want them all, wait for the Kickstarter because there'll be add-on, or one of the reward levels will get you the back issues too, and that'll
Okay.
help fund the Kickstarter.
Right.
So, but you can buy them all at full price if you want to. That'd be fun
Yeah.
too.
That's fine. All right. Excellent. Well, thank you so much, Andrew.
Yeah, it's great to be here. Thanks for having me.
there are ways where you can actually merge a board game with a role playing game,
Yeah.
but it's very specific to make that. The thing about board games is that they are always objective. Like, it's
Mm-hmm.
objective rules. It's not, there's no room for interpretation. Like, this is the rules. This is how, this is the, this is the win condition on how, like, there's always going to be an end to that. But I used to play with her and my daughters. There's this game called Amazing Tales. This guy from Belgium made this game that was just purely for kids, a role playing game purely for kids. That you basically have three dice. You have a 6-sided, an 8-sided, and a 10-sided, and each
Mm-hmm.
one, what you decide for is your skill, what you
Mm-hmm.
get, what you're good at, what you're really good at, and what you're great at. Blah, and you can pick whatever you want. So it's kind of like a fate core kind of deal like that,
Yeah.
where it's open ended. But she basically so every time, so there she has the map of this board game is zoned out where it actually has, she had yellow construction paper, so that was the desert. She had blue construction paper, that's where the ocean was. She had red construction paper, that's where the lava was. But each place she had where you'd fight a monster. And I was the potions master. So basically, I said we went into the water realm, or with the desert realm, for instance, and we had to fight desert trolls. And she goes, "What do you do?" And I said, "There's no dice rolling because it wasn't that, but it turned into a role playing game." And this
Uh-huh.
announcer goes, "What do you do?" I says, "Well, I'm gonna make a potion where I actually turn the troll into pure stone." And she
Mm-hmm.
goes, and she looks at me and she goes, um, "You do that potion, you do that, and you fail." I'm like, "What happened?" Like, there's no dice roll or anything. She just
Yeah.
basically made the statement almost to the point where it became a um a, like a battle of wits between two real people, like to like try to outwit them.